I know you guys have heard it already. The unit of choice system's changed, but what does it really mean for us? What does it really mean in the terms of units that we can ULC? There's a bunch of units that we didn't think we were going to be able to use unit of choice tickets on whatsoever when looking into the far future of JP with the Summon Fest system. But now that Summon Fest is gone, we can use ULCs to get prisms for characters. What characters are you going to want to go ahead and try to pick up now with this unit of choice system change? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be picking up some of the best characters that we didn't get to talk about before in terms of characters that you could not ULC before. So let's get into it for you guys right here, right now. So you guys can see there's a bunch of future units for us to talk about. We can also take this down to just the Summon Fest units, and these are the units that we're going to be talking about today. The Summon Fest units that we haven't hit quite yet. As you can see, Eldor King Rain is right here. The first one in JP was White Lily, aka White Lotus Dark Fina, aka CG Dark Fina. So let's go over these, and I have some ones that I'm going to pick out for the ones that I'm telling you guys are going to be the most worthwhile of your unit of choice ticket. So let's get in here. White Lily Dark Fina, very strong mage character. If you're looking for mages, then yeah, this is definitely a character that you're gonna want to go and get. But outside of that, she doesn't do anything super special. She's just like a magic damage dealer. All right, so you could go for her. That's not gonna be one of the units that I pick out. Iron Knight here, very powerful. Onion Slice, Star Destroyer, Royal Ray, True Dual Wield Chainer. Has King Lastwell, very powerful as well. Prince Noctis is a character that is coming out in the future. Very strong True Dual Wield, or if you have the gear for it, you can build him True Double Hand. Burst damage chaining character with a dupe a little bit, and then some big chain finish damage there. Luna Freya is a nice little support character, but nothing crazy there. Madame Adele, one of the most overpowered characters. I talk about Madame Adele all of the time. Paladin Sessile as well. We have CG Zidane, Sakura, and Nicole of the very spoiler stars. And then we have CG Titus, all the way up to Unaleska, Yuna, Riku, Final Fantasy X-2, Pain, CG Shantoto, Bahamut Fina, Diablo Soul, Asura Agstar, Alexander Charlotte, Shiva Lastwell, Odin Reagan, Tetra Syphlid, Physalis. I finally did Cloud and Tifa from Advent Children, and then obviously Elena got added to JP, but we already have her. So which ones out of all of these am I going to pick out? So let's start from the bottom all the way up to the top here. One of the units that's not here in this Summon Fest list, but we are going to talk about is actually CG Warrior of Light. We've talked about CG Warrior of Light a bunch. Very powerful tank, very strong cooldown skill, damage mitigation for your team. Very nice ability. If you want the full lowdown on Warrior of Light, I do have a video for that character specifically for you. But today we're talking about the TLDR version. What makes him so powerful? He's got the damage mitigation. He's got the tanking prowess. This massive cooldown skill right here is so strong for him. Right here, 6-turn cooldown available on turn 1. 200% defense and spirit buff for yourself. Puts up your AoE physical cover, and then gives everyone on your party 50% damage mitigation, and gives a 500 HP barrier as well. He's got Star Destroy, so he makes a nice chaining partner. Physical damage mitigation up here with this skill. Followed up with, you know, a little bit of attack and magic break, 60% if that's something that you want to go ahead and do there. He's got 100% light and peril. He's got MP recovery, limit burst gauge fill rate, 70% damage mitigation for anyone except for himself, so you can go ahead and damage mitigate for either maybe your magic cover tank, your provoke tank, whoever it is. If he's physical covering, you have someone else provoking, he can make your provoke tank take even less damage than usual. 4,000 HP barrier, and he's got giant elemental resistance buff. So he's just an all-encompassing, very strong character. You can spam out a very nice high HP barrier, 3,000 HP barrier, 250% defense buff as well. So that is CG Warrior Light. I know a lot of you guys out there are waiting for him. He's going to be a little bit harder to get in global than we assumed, due to the fact that you can only ULC his Prism now in comparison to what we were waiting for, which was just being able to ULC the character 2 times, right? 20 ULCs. A lot of people were waiting for that. Now, that being said, White Lotus, Dark Mage Fina, going to be one of the most powerful mages in the game. If you do want a strong mage, then this is probably going to be the one that you're going to go for. That's why I picked her out, due to the fact we can just look at her multipliers here. She's got pretty much permanent quadricast, Chaos Wave, Chain Frames. She has triple cast, but she has pretty much permanent unlockable quadricast, very high multipliers. Her abilities before her buffs, right, from her passives, go up to a 20 times multiplier with permanent quadricast, which is nowhere near where we're at right now. I think Kefka hit like 16 or something like that. She's just going to be better than that, 20 times multiplier, but she doesn't do anything like super cool or anything of that nature. She just does damage, fire, earth, and dark chaos wave chaining damage, high multipliers, pretty decent survivability. I think she also has a nice 200% magic buff as well, and she's got a little bit of utility with elemental resistance buffs, but nothing super insane. The next one is CG Onion Knight. If you're a true dual wield fan, you missed out on Bart's, then this is the character that is going to help you out here. So we have a 40 attack accessory with 50% true dual attack. So if you missed out on Bart's accessory, then Onion Knight's got one for you as well. It also has access to 5% MP refresh per turn there for you. But what does he do? He pretty much just does damage. He's just a damage dealer. He's one of those guys. He gets in there. He likes to tumble. He likes to roll around. He likes to fight. Right? He's got the Onion Slice. He's got the Stardust Ray. And then he's got Iron Slice. Oh, he's got an Royal Ray skill. His main damage dealing skills are Stardust Ray. He's got Fire, Water, Wind, Earth. Big damage. He's got some nice stacking cooldown skills that do a bunch of damage for you here as well. His Limit Burst gives an increased modifier. His nice series bonus boss battle skill, which you won't even have to unlock in global, is very powerful. Right here, the clear. He's going to come with this in global. They did do that change as well. Very strong, increased modifiers permanently, 99,999 turns. So he's going to get in there. You're going to use his 2 skills to increase the modifiers, and you're going to use those skills. You're going to do a bunch of damage, 4 different elements, 4 different imperils, 4 different water resistance buffs as well. So very strong character. If you're looking for a Stardust Ray true dual wield unit, Onion Knight is going to be one of those characters for you. Now, the character I'm looking forward to the most, one of the two anyway, we have CG Prince Noctis. If you're a Regina fan out there, the CG Prince Noctis is just going to be a Regina 2.0 for the most part. If you know how Regina works, the Noctis is going to be right up your alley. True dual wield, he's not base true double hand, but if you have a lot of the super high-end gear, you've been playing the game for a while, maybe you invested in it because of Noctis, you can go ahead and do the true double hand build in global as well, but the true dual wield build is also incredibly powerful. So what I mean, he's basically just like Regina. He does the same exact thing. He's got Pentacast here, but he can use each skill 1 time. Then he's got all the same Regina stuff. He's got different skills that buff up different killers, buff up modifiers, increases for his skills, and he's got a Regina Cannon-esque type ability. He also has a pretty hard-hitting multiplier limit burst, although unlike Regina, you don't really actually use your Limit Burst crystals to use your Limit Burst. You're going to be using your Limit Burst crystals to use his new Armiger Wake skill every once in a while. So if you have Armiger Wakes unlocked, you've seen this before on normal Noctis, but CG Noctis's does way more damage. It always hits 6 to 8 times instead of, I do believe Armiger Wakes was like 3 to 8 or 2 to 8. This is 6 to 8 times. The multiplier is 5.0. It also has increased multiplier passive buffs for it, so that multiplier is actually higher than that, and it only costs 10 Limit Burst crystals as well. And you can get in there, you can buff up his killers, buff up his damage dealing potential for his finisher, and then cast Armiger Wakes in Chain Weave it, and then land the finisher as well. It's going to be a lot of damage. It's so strong. That is the best way to use Noctis. Nothing as far as support aspects, really. He's got a little bit of supporting stuff for himself. He can add a bunch of different good killers. He's got Fairy Killer, Reaper Killer, Human Killer, and Demon Killer in his buff, so that affects all of his skills, whether it's his Limit Burst, whether it's the skill you're using to do damage the same turn. He has a little bit of utility in the term of 65% breaks for defense as well as spirit, if that's something you want to do. He also has defense and spirit buff for himself. Just if you like Regina, you're going to love Noctis, and that is who I'm going to go for, definitely for sure. Noctis is, he's just, listen, look at this sprite. You see that sprite? What? That's the end of the conversation. That's the end of the conversation right there. Now, the other one, very close to Noctis, so you guys might have to take one of these two characters, is Madame Adele. Madame Adele is absolutely insane. So strong. Very good, much wow. She comes with her own special reward if you do Madame's Manor, which is an incredibly powerful one-handed gun. Do believe it is Earth Elemental. Only Madame Adele can use it, I think. And it gives a special passive for Madame Adele, 50% attack, 50% HP. That is before Item World. You put that gun through Item World, you get the rare ability on it, maybe another 10% attack. You can easily get 100% attack from just her gun in passives, maybe a little bit more if you get really lucky, get rare ability and maybe 15%. In 10%, you get the GG roll, you know, get the 110, 115% attack. That's going to be incredibly powerful. Her TMR also gives her 70% attack, 30 flat attack, or 30% attack, 20% attack with a gun, 20% with a fist. That's pretty good, 70%, nothing super insane. You also don't have to use it on her. So let's get into Madame Adele. What makes her so strong, what makes her so powerful? So she's got ramping up chain damage, or you can also just do big burst damage with her right away. So she's a true dual wield unit. She's got the 6x multiplier cap. And as you can see, she's got a bunch of Stardust Ray skills here. She does have W cast as well. She's got a little bit of utility for herself. She's a pretty selfish unit, but she's selfish in the right way. So you can give herself a 2000 HP barrier in a pinch. You can give herself auto revive in a pinch. You can kind of use that. That's not really what she's known for though, but she does have 120% Earth Imperil, which is going to be pretty prevalent since that gun of hers that gives those insane stats is Earth Elemental for you already, which allows you to wear whatever non-elemental weapon you want in your other hand. Probably a fist weapon, maybe, who knows. But here's where she really starts to do a bunch of stuff. So she has these cooldown skills, turn 3, turn 6, turn 9, turn 12 cooldown skills. Remember, she's true dual wield. So when you use a cooldown skill, the game's actually going to use it 2 times for you because you're dual wielding. You do not need to dual cast it. And each of these skills are going to give you a permanent 3.0 multiplier buff to some of her skills for 99,999 turns. And these multipliers stack. So 3, 6, 9, 12 stacking mods, but that's not it. We also have her limit burst for another 2.0, so 14.0 multiplier increasing mods, and the damage on these skills themselves go up and up and up. Look at this last one that unlocks on turn 12. If the fight isn't over yet, it's going to end it for you. It is a 3.5 multiplier, ignore 50% defense in the first 9 hits, but that final hit is a 30 times modifier with ignore 50% defense. That is 60 times multiplier all on its own. But don't forget, by the time you get to turn 12, if she hasn't died yet, you're going to have these stacking modifiers up from her limit burst as well as her other skills. And this is going to go right into her main spamming skill that she gets at level 110, which is a 0.5 modding for ignore 50% defense on the first 9 hits. And the last one is going to be a 2.5 mod, ignore 50% defense to one enemy as well. And then when you cast the skill, it's going to give yourself a 4.5 multiplier increase for the own skill, the skill that we just talked about for 2 turns as well. So another 4.5 multiplier stacking buff there for this skill. So it's going to do a bunch of damage, but that's not it. If you don't want to ramp up, you want to do big damage right away, she can do it with her final skill, which costs 38 limit burst crystals. So you're going to need a little bit of limit burst gauge fill rate and stuff like that, or someone to give her a limit burst on turn 1 for you. But it is an 80 times multiplier to one enemy. So it's very similar to Carton. We just saw Carton come out, except hers actually works with dual wield. So Carton's was 99 times mod, didn't work with dual wield. Hers is an 80 times mod, does work with dual wield. That's 160 times multiplier. Insane burst damage chain finishing, if that is something that you desire as well. She also has something else that I really do like here. So her trustability passive here, all it does is gives you a chance to ignore fatal damage, 100% proc rate, and it actually can proc 2 times. So if you want to go ahead and get this, you know, her super team or trust master reward to activate this, you can. If you don't want it, you can build her however you want. She's also immune to charm. So she also has one other skill that I really like. If you are trying to live through a big damage phase, she's got this last skill that we can talk about here. You can see it coming. So it unlocks these 2 skills. Her 5-star level 24 skill will unlock these 2 unique skills. What these skills are is you can give yourself 75% physical or 75% magic damage mitigation for 1 turn to the caster as well. So if you don't want her to die, you don't want to lose all your stacks, you can kind of see what's going on. You know that there's a big threshold coming. You're going to take a bunch of damage. You can go ahead and cast both of these on 1 turn and live, and then start doing damage again. So Madame Adele, pretty powerful, one of my top units to save for in the future of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius Global Edition. Now, we're not quite done yet. We also have Paladin Sessile. Now, a lot of you guys out there waiting for Paladin Sessile. He's coming, CG Sessile. What sets him apart from the rest? So he's got a pretty good TMR. It gives you 30% spirit if you're equipped with a heavy shield, as well as heavy armor. So if you have a heavy shield and heavy armor, that's going to be 60% spirit, which is actually insane, especially for a magic tank like Sessile. It also gives you 30% HP. So 30% HP, 60% spirit. That is a super TMR tier. That's Bosch's super TMR. Bosch's super TMR is 50% HP, 30% spirit. This is just 60 spirit, 30 HP. So it's like role reversal there. That is a TMR. Obviously, you have to wear a heavy shield and heavy armor. Bosses just works. But that's still super TMR tier in my opinion. His STMR is a sword, 165 spirit, 20%, or 165 flat spirit and 20% additional spirit on top of that. So very strong super TMR, but really that TMR is what I'm looking at for Paladin Sessile. But what about his kit? What does he do? So Paladin Sessile has a weird thing we can't really go into. If you want to see the full breakdown, I do have a video on that as well. Go ahead and check out the sneak peek series for these units, guys. But as you can see, his active ability pool is really small, and this is because he has a lot of unlocked abilities. When he uses different skills, he actually transforms between a dark mode and a light mode. So if we go down here and we check out some of his unlocked skills, look at all of the unlocked skills he has access to, and this is why we can't go through a full breakdown, but we can go over what these skills do. These skills, the light and the dark versions, TLDR, every time you use his AoE magic cover, it's going to transform him between light and dark, and you're going to have access to different stuff. He has access to triple cast. He has access to 4,000 HP AoE HP recovery. He's got full life. He's got a 80% fire, light, ice, and light resist buff. He does start with his full limit burst gauge unlocked. He's got a nice little limit burst gauge counter for your whole team. And then he's got water, wind, dark, and earth resist buff. One of the 4 element resist buffs is on one form, the other one's on the other form, so you can transform, cover, and then get your element resist buffs back up for one of the 4 elements, then cover again, get the other 4 elements, so you can kind of be like an elemental resist guy as well. Very strong. You know, anything that you see HP damage to the caster, this is going to be during his dark form. So during his dark form, he's got water, wind, earth, and dark, which is very nice. I do like that. And then he's got some MP recovery. He's got auto revive to one ally. So he's got a lot of cool utility stuff. He's like your utility tank. A lot of people like him over Charlotte. I'm still going to use CG Charlotte simply because I have the team comp set up where I don't really need anyone else. She's super tanky. She's got like 30,000 HP. We got Lilith TMR, ran that thing through Adele. It was so good. But a lot of people out there are waiting for him. He's very powerful, very strong. He does have 50% damage mitigation for 5 turns to all allies here. Costs 36 crystals, so you know that's the downside of CG Sessile versus Charlotte. His limit burst is harder to get off, but honestly, guys, nowadays 36, 22 doesn't really matter. One time. You need to use this one time the last 5 turns. Actually insane. It also gives 5 limit burst gauge crystals back to everyone except for himself. And it also does a little bit of damage, 24 times mod with spirit scaling. So it's going to be CG Paladin Sessile. Very powerful character. Last but not least, actually it's not last at all. I fooled you guys. There's a couple more. We have Nicole of the Epsilon star. If you don't know, if you haven't been playing through story, listen. I'm sorry. Look at, he's got the shades on, dude. He's got the superhero shades on. So what is Nicole going to do? No, so Nicole is going to become the Nicole everyone always wanted Nicole to be. He's got a lot of cool, unique stuff. He's going to be a full-on support. So let's talk about him. Number 1, his series bonus boss battle reward, which he's going to come with straight up, is pretty unique. It does add ice element to your entire party's imbues for 3 turns. It's also going to give everyone 100% ice resistant for 3 turns as well. This is going to be pretty cool if you're trying to do like big burst damage, limit burst or something right away. I know a lot of people out there would like to have AoE imbue. That's going to be something that's pretty cool there as well. He's got different Aurora Ray chaining skills. He's got a water one and a ice one. They both have 80% in peril as well. He's got some nice MP recovery. He's got magic damage mitigation and physical damage mitigation that are both tied to elemental resistances. So the light and dark resistance is tied to the magic damage mitigation. The ice and water resistance is tied to the physical damage mitigation. So that's very powerful. That's 3 things in one skill there for you guys. He's got attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff, 150% for 3 turns. That also comes with a 150% high tide as well. So a lot of his stuff is doing double duty. He's got Aurora Rated Chain that is with an Imperil. He's got Ice Imbue plus Ice Resistance. He's got Mitigation plus 2 elemental resistances. He's got full stat buffs in high tide. Okay, he's got a Dispel still with his nice little shin kick thing. He also has general damage mitigation 30% with an HP heal over time attached to it, but this is really not, we're not using this skill almost ever. He also has dual cast. So we're going to highlight these dual cast skills. He still has his water imbue, and look guys, his water imbue is now dual castable. So he's got Ice Imbue in Water Imbue, Ice Imperil in Water Imperil for you guys here. Then he's got a 6-turn cooldown that comes with 50% all damage mitigation, as well as ice, water, light, and dark 100% resistance buff. And then he's got the 6-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Attack and magic break for 3 turns here to all enemies, 70%, as well as attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff of 180% for 3 turns to all allies. And then it's going to give 4 to 6 evocation gauge crystals and unlock 2 special skills for him for 4 turns there. His final cooldown skill, 4-turn cooldown available on turn 1, gives everyone immunity to stop for 3 turns, 200 per flat MP recovery for the entire party. He's going to cure stop and give 10 limit burst gauge crystals to all allies as well. So another way to get that AoE limit burst gauge out and get that stop resist out and get you cure to stop, as well as the 200 MP as soon as turn 1 if you're trying to do limit burst strategies. You can kind of see a little bit of a resemblance to Sylvie here with our boy Nicole, but we're not done yet. Remember, we still have those 2 special skills to go over. So these 2 special skills here, he's got the ability to put back up his 100% ice, water, light, and dark resist to keep that going, as well as a 50% HP heal to all allies with a 3000 HP barrier in 12 limit burst gauge crystals. And as you can see, it's highlighted, he can dual cast this skill. So he's going to be able to pump out so much limit burst gauge fill rate, right? Turn 1, if you really want to, here's what you do with them. You use your 2 7-star skills down here. They're 2 cooldown skills. You get a 70% attack and magic break. You get 180% attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff. You get 4 to 6 limit burst crystals. You unlock those 2 special skills. You also give everyone 10 limit burst gauge fill rate, cure stop, give everyone stop resist, and cure your MP. The turn after that, you can go ahead, if you want to, use this skill down here 2 more times in a row. Give everyone a 3000 HP barrier, restore 50% HP 2 times, so full heal, and then give another 24 limit burst gauge crystals. That's on turn 2. You're gonna have 34 LB crystals AoE. Good to go. CG Sessile, what was your limit burst? Wait, what? 36. So if you got 2 crystals, you can go ahead and fire off CG Sessile's limit burst right then and there. So not a whole lot of people talk about Nicole at the Epsilon Star, but if you are still looking for a support character, if this sounds good to you, you don't have access to the silver or anything, then this character is going to be pretty good for you. If you already have Sylvie, who cares? Who wants Sylvie, side grade Sylvie? I mean, special glasses Sylvie, we'll call him. Now, speaking of supports, there's another character out there, Riku from Final Fantasy X-2, does some cool stuff. So Riku does one cool thing. So she's got the top tier break, so it's top tier breaker. But she also does do good damage. She does do good damage here. She's got dual cast, as you can see. She's got a lot of breaks in her kit as well. As you can see right here, 8-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Attack, defense, magic, and spirit, 80% break for 4 turns to all enemies, as well as giving an 80% auto revive for 4 turns to all allies. So this is like the top tier version of CG Summer Lydon Phoenix cooldown skill. Summer Lydon Phoenix was 70%. Riku's is 80%. That is a huge deal. If you guys have been following the channel, you know just how big of a difference, like a 4 or 5% difference in breaks can be. This is 10%. That is absolutely insane. She's got AoE lightning imbue for your whole party with lightning resist buff, AoE limit burst gauge fill for 15 crystals to your whole party. She's got an emergency cooldown heal, but that's not the only thing that she does do. Her limit burst here, pretty powerful as well. Another 80% break for 4 turns all enemies with a 28 times multiplier. But the other cool thing I know a lot of you guys are going to like out there, I know a lot of you guys are going to like them, she's also true dual wield with 6 times multiplier cap. But her main damage dealing skill here, right here, absolute mirror of equity chain, right? Decent multiplier, does get multiplier increases. To 1.0 mod in the first 7 hits with ignore 50% defense, followed by an 8.0 mod with ignore 50% defense on that final hit. So 16, 17, 18 times multiplier right there. But every time you chain with her, she gives everyone an AoE stack of Mirage, which I know how much you guys love AoE Mirage out there. So your breaker can come and break, do damage, chain with your AT characters, and then give your whole team Mirage to dodge those physical attacks. On top of that, she's got on-demand 75% attack and magic breaks to all enemies while doing a little bit of damage, as well as a 75% on-demand defense and spirit break. So she's always breaking. She's there. She's got high tide, 200% for your whole party. She's so strong. And did I mention she can run away from battles? All right, next up, we have Alexander Charlotte. We're not going to go in too long on here because I just covered her. It felt like maybe yesterday. It felt like I covered this unit yesterday, honestly. Alexander Charlotte, very powerful, very prominent character. She's like, she can tank everything. She's got AoE physical cover, she's got AoE magic cover, she's got it all. She's very tanky, very powerful. She's still got that very strong limit burst here, 22 limit burst crystals, all right, 50% damage mitigation, except for instead of like CG Charlotte, the one that we have access to now, instead of it being a magic cover, it's a physical cover, but she's got so much cool stuff to use. This character I'm definitely going for here. And then last but not least, you might want to be saving unit choice tickets. If you're a Cloud fan, I literally just covered him, so we're not going to talk about him at all, except for the fact that he does way too much damage with his limit burst. If you have the gear for it, we're talking, you know, 400-ish times multipliers on his limit burst. I had a build. I was like, how strong can we make this man? And we were messing around on stream and stuff. We said we can use whatever super team are in the game. It doesn't matter. How much limit burst damage can we? He had like 500 and something % limit burst damage with his buff. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. He sent the moon to the moon. He didn't know what was going on. So that's gonna be the tippy top of the tippy top for future units, guys. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too long, but for me personally, I have Madame Adele and Prince Noctis as my go-tos that are coming up right next to each other, which makes me kind of sad. I'm going to try to get both of them. Hopefully I get lucky enough. I do have enough UOCs to get one of their prisms each. As long as I can pull one of them, maybe we'll get lucky. And then in the future, I'm going for Alexander Charlotte. Outside of that, I still like the team comp that I have. I still like Myra. I still like Sylvia. I still like Summer, Lid, and Fina. All those characters, very powerful. I do love them all, but there are some stand-ins here. If you're looking for the newer model in the future, maybe you're just starting the game now, you wanted some future sight. And if you know someone who's just starting the game now, this is a perfect opportunity for them to get their feet wet, get their feet in the water, and look at what's coming out in the future, guys. So if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, subscription buttons right down below. And speaking of future videos, tomorrow's video is going to be amazing. A lot of cool stuff coming out this week. Don't forget, FFBE, we're having a live stream. I'm not going to be there, but we're going to be hanging out on Twitch. And speaking of Twitch, tomorrow, War of the Visions and JP is coming out, so we're going to be, I can't wait. I love tactics, so we're going to be exploring that game, and I'm going to get lost in it because I don't speak Japanese. I also don't read Japanese. I don't Japanese anything, you know, outside of Japanese Google Translate, so maybe we'll try that one out. Who knows?